So now we are talking about files. Files are streams in Python. Files are streams in Python. We are going to talk about it. Files are streams in Python. What do you mean by, what is the use of these files? We are talking about index. So let's talk about the index here. So first, we talk about types of applications. Types of applications. There is a part of this. We talk about non-persistent applications. Non-persistent applications. And the second one we talk about persistent applications. What do you mean by non-persistent applications? What do you mean by persistent applications? Next we will talk about purpose of files. Purpose of files. Next we'll talk about definition of file, definition of file and stream. Definition of file and then stream. Next, operations on files. Operations on files. There we'll talk about write operation, write operation and read operation. Read operation. Okay. And their steps also we'll discuss. And next we'll talk about types of files. Types of files. There we'll talk text files, text files. Second, next we'll talk about binary files, binary files. And followed by, this is a concept base. This is a concept base. So to develop any files concept, we require a concept to be discussed. This is the first level concept. With that, you will be fully impressed with that concept. So next we will talk about file opening modes. File opening modes. There we will talk about aim R mode. P we will talk about W mode. C we will talk about A mode. Next, D we talk about R plus mode, and E we talk about W plus mode, and next we'll talk about F we'll talk about A plus mode, and next we'll talk about X mode, and next we'll talk about X plus mode. Very, very important. Next, number of approaches to open the files. Number of approaches to open the files. There we talk about by using open function. Second, we talk about by using with open off as approach. With the open off as approach, followed by programming examples. Programming examples. There we will talk about at the part of that function, writing the data to the file. 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 There we'll talk about write function, and next B we will talk about the write lines function. Write lines function. And the next step before this we will talk about one more thing. File attributes. File attributes we will talk about. That is attributes of file. And write lines and followed by programming examples. Programming examples. Okay. Next we will talk about reading the data from the file. Reading the data from the file. Reading the data from the files. There we'll talk about read function, and next we'll talk about read lines function. Read lines function, followed by programming examples. Programming examples. Next we will talk about random access files. random access files. Random access files. There we will talk about tell function, tell. Next B function is listen. Listen function, listen. Followed by programming examples. Programming examples. So this is about the second level. Second level. Complete programming. Second level. Next, third level. Third level concept. That is pickling. Pickling, not pickle. Not mango pickle. Pickling. That is object serialization we can call. Very, very important. Object serialization and unpickling. Unpickling. That is object deserialization. Object deserialization. Object deserialization. So implementation of pickling and unpickling, unpickling with the pickle module, with the pickle module. Next, followed by programming examples. Programming examples, very, very important. Separate area, advanced part of files. This is the one. This is called third level. Enough, huh? Is it enough? Still, you need more deep. Come on. Right. Next, working with working with CSV files. Working with CSV files. Implementation of implementation of CSV files. CSV files. Implementation of CSV files with CSV module. CSV module. There we will talk about. There we will talk about. So a CSV dot reader, CSV dot reader, CSV dot writer, CSV dot writer, C CSV dot dict reader, dict reader, and D CSV dot dict writer, dict writer, dict writer. Followed by programming examples. Programming examples. Right? This is the next level. Next level. These are very, very important. In pandas also, this is very, very important. You will come across. Next, enough, enough. No. Okay. Working with working with JSON files. JSON files. JSON files stands for JavaScript object notation. Do you know JavaScript? Do you know JavaScript? Do you know JavaScript? Do you know JavaScript? Come on. So 1 minute later, 1 minute in time. దాంట్లో allow చేయను actually గా. JavaScript object notation. That is a JSON file. Just not the names. Okay. Sorry, I just thought about that. Even here also, they did not heard any name also. Because offline students are not saying anything. Because if they say something, I may ask them some questions. Have you heard about JavaScript? Have you learned it? No, only Python learning. Only one thing learning is no use. For example, only one eye is there. Not enough. You need both eyes. To get the job in the industry, you need skill set to gather. Correct? You need to learn multiple skill set, students. So, coming to the working with JSON file, implementation of implementation of JSON file, implementation of JSON files with a JSON module, with the JSON module. Here CSV module, pickle module. There we talk about, there we mkdir, mkdir, os dot, os dot, make dirs, os dot, os dot, rmdir, os dot, os dot, remove dirs, remove dirs, c, and then os dot remove, os dot remove f OS dot rename, OS dot rename FG, OS dot list of dir, list dir, followed by programming examples. That is the end of what? Files. This much index is there. So you search anywhere else, any material, anywhere, anything you download, this will not be there. At least they may talk about this part, this part they may talk about it. Emmanuel, excellent index. Okay. Thank you, Emmanuel. Now I'll move to the, they may talk up to this RW is there now. They will talk about only these two. Only the two. Because in C language, files you learned it. Files you learned or not? C language. C language files learned or not? Learned. Do you remember? Okay. Now you learned everything, but no use of anything. So we, the topic, we will discuss this one by one. So one by one, I'll start discussing and we should not miss it. Hmm. Uh, Ranjan Patra, sorry, in C, two. Option F is there. Option F means option F means A plus. Okay. So F, this option F, this is not options, these are subheadings. Right. Okay. Anything. Anyhow. So coming to the point of it, I will save this. Go to the place. So 7 a.m. Online students, is it okay? Is my voice is audible now? Is my voice is clear? Now start the discussion. Fine. So let's start. Here, is it clear, students? Hmm? It's not audible, but not clear as previous. Still some disturbance is there, sir. Voice is not clear, sir. Resound is coming. Audible, but not clear. Echo is coming. Voice is deep. Voice is not clear. Voice is not clear. Not clear. Salam. Don't make nice. Get the notes. No discussion, girls. Read. Now let's move to the further. So I'll good move to the further. So discuss about what are the need of these files. Now I'm going to discuss. Students, in the industry, the most important the most important thing is data. The most important factor is data. So why data is most useful for taking effective decisions? For taking effective decisions purpose, for taking effective decisions purpose, we always prefer to deal with data. Such a type of data, such a type of data can be stored, can be stored by default, can be stored by default in where, by default in where? Beginning day, I already said, and daily we used to deal with this so far like this. By default, the data stored in where? Main memory. By default, the data stored in main memory. What is the main memory component name? RAM. So what is the RAM? Hmm? RAM is one of the main memory where we can store the data. Where we can store the data? Temporarily. I already said to you, temporarily. Did you remember this? We can store the data temporarily. That means as long as power is available, data will be available. Once the power is lost, data also will be gone. Best example, you take our yesterday's ATM application, ATM project application, which was running. As long as it was running, it maintains the data of that what we are entering. Now you run the code once again. What is the balance will be shown? 500 will be shown. Yesterday when I was closing my when I was closed my application, it was around 3,800 or something else is there. Now if I run my application again, it will be showing as what? 500 only it will show. That means once you are going to run any application by default, the data of that application is stored in where? Main memory. Main memory data is what? Temporary. Now you take, now you take the organizations. You take the organization students. Some of the organizations you take it. Any organization you take it. Number one organization you take it as educational sectors. Very, very important students. Educational sectors, schools, colleges, universities, and etc. will store their students' details temporarily or permanently. Permanently, they need to store. To store the data permanently, we need a separate programming called what? Files. We need a programming called what? Persistency programming we need. That one of the area of persistency programming is with the files we can do it. Next, you take it as what? Financial sectors you take it. Financial sectors. Financial sectors you take it. In the financial sectors, what is happening? In financial sectors, what is happening? All the customers' transactions are storing permanently or not? And is the data will store permanently or temporarily? So like that, you take all marketing sectors. You take all marketing sectors to market with the customers. They will source the customers data permanently. You take all shopping malls. You take all shopping malls. All shopping malls. You take it. Those people also going to store the customers' data for permanently to rate by themselves and how they are doing the business and everything. Like that, if you take any type of organization, the data they are expecting the primary component for them want to store, want to store permanently, want to store permanently. To store it as permanently, what we need, there are two approaches are required. What are those two approaches? One is called the files. Through files you can do. Through what next? Database programming you can do it. Database programming you can do it. There are two approaches are there to deal with permanently storing. One is by using files, one more by using databases. So our Python programming can deal with both of them. Can deal with the files, can deal with what next? Databases. Files will have some small limitations are there, students. To overcome the limitations, we'll go for what? Databases. So ultimately, my concept is very simple, students. What I'm trying to tell is whatever the applications we discussed so far, all those applications related data was stored in which memory? That data is what actually that type of applications are called what? Non-persistent applications we can call. Spell out non-persistent applications we can call. In that, what is happening? We read the data from the keyboard. In the day one only, I said this. We read the data from the keyboard, enter into the main memory. In the main memory, I will process it, and whose result will be stored shown on the monitor. And how do you read the data from the keyboard? By using input of. That will be stored in where? Main memory in the form of objects, integers, float, bool, and all those things are object. We will process there and will show the result on the console, that is on the monitor, by using which statement? Print statement. So far we did like that only now. APM application you take it yesterday. We read the data from the keyboard, we stored the data in the main memory, and we displayed the total results on the monitor. This type of application is called what? Persistent application or non-persistent? Non-persistent. Meaning of persistent is storing permanently. Storing permanently is known as what? Persistent. Now we are coming to where data want to store permanently. To store the data permanently, there are two approaches. One is by using files, one more by using. So such a type of applications are called what persistent applications we can call. So we can achieve the persistency in how many ways? Two ways. One is by using files, one more by using. So files are used for which purpose? For achieving the data persistency. What do you mean by data persistency? Storing the data permanently. That is the meaning of which one? Persistent application. So why do you use files in C language, C++, Java, Python, any language you take it, student, that kind of files are used for what purpose? To store the data permanently. So take India, Aadhaar card information you take it. How they are storing in permanently or temporarily? How that permanent can be stored? Persistency programming. What might be used? Either they may use files or they may use what? Database. Whichever they like it, they can use it. First of all, so far we learned which application development non-persistent. So today we are going to learn what? Right. So what is our basic diagram for that? Come on and understand carefully now. From the device, from the keyboard, I am entering into what? Reading the data, getting stored in where? Main memory. That main memory, we are going to process it. We are going to process it. That results we are going to display on the monitor. This is comes under which development? Non-persistent. Non-persistent. And next we are doing what? That processed result we are storing permanently. We are storing permanently. This can be either a file I can take it or it can be what? Database. This programming is called what? Persistent based applications. This programming is called what? Non-persistent applications we can call. So quickly, so anything permanently, that is persistent. What is the meaning of persistency? Storing the data permanently. How many ways are there to store the data permanently? One is by using files, one more by using, right. So best example, your brain is an example of main memory. You written BTech first year, second year exam, forget. Third year exam, forget. Fourth year exam also written, forget. Do you remember anything first year, second year, third year, fourth year? So your brain is good example, non-persistent. Have a notebook of first year, second year, third year, fourth years. Hmm? They are not there. There. In tomorrow. Okay, sir. Written completely. All subjects. Very good. Really good student. If you have written everything still there, that means even if you open the notebook, still the notebook is containing data or not. What it is called persistent. Study, forget about it. We are going to store our total result into where files are databases. That is known as persistent. Let me show you a small explanation. Introduction notes I am going to give you. So here I am going to give you students as a part of it I want to give you now. Coming to the files here, a small example I want to show you. So types of applications in files. Come on, read out quickly. The purpose of files in any programming language is that to maintain data persistency. The purpose of storing the data permanent process of storing the data permanently is called data persistency. In this context, we can develop two types of applications. They are non-persistent applications, persistent applications. In non-persistent application development, we read the data from keyboard stored in main memory in the form of object processed and whose results are displayed on the monitor. Right? All our previous examples comes under what? Non-persistent. So far, what we discussed, it comes under non-persistent. Next, we know that data stored in main memory is temporary. That is volatile, right? In persistent application development, we read the data from keyboard. Here also, stored in where? Main memory. Here also, in the form of what? Objects. Here also, processed, whose results displayed on where, but whose results stored. This is the point. When you go for first time Aadhaar registration, they will read the data from the keyboard. They will take your pic of it and everything they will show you. That is available in where? Main memory. After saying that everything confirm, they will say confirm. Once they confirm, are they stored permanently or not? In industry, we have two types of ways to store the data permanently. Number one, by using files. Next, by using database softwares. Forget about this entire thing, database software. When I come to the Python database communication, I'll tell you that. RDBMS, database softwares. This you forget about it. Now I'm going to conclude one thing. How many types of applications? Two. One is non-persistent, persistent. So in non-persistent, results stored temporarily. In persistent, results stored, good. Files are used for what purpose? To store the data permanently. Online students are able to understand this. Is it clear for all of you? Quick, everybody need to save. What is the use of exception handling? What is the use of exception handling? To build robust applications. To build robust applications. Purpose. Definition of exception handling, don't tell. Purpose is different. Definition is different. Purpose of exception handling is to build robust application. When it becomes robust, when you convert technical error messages into user friendly, you have to tell that very fluently, right? That part. What are the use of packages? To make our applications to access everywhere else. What is the use of modules? What is the use of functions? What is the use of operators, while loops, and all those things? You have to have correct knowledge in the brain. Okay, now that's why I read the notes daily. Now I'm entering into the further. Students, after understanding the types of applications, one small diagram I want to open. Diagram I want to open it for your clarity purpose. See students carefully. See students carefully. Here, this is my concept. This is a keyboard. What you did already, I'm just showing. Reading the data from the keyboard by using which function? So that is stored in where? Come on. Main memory. Main memory in the form of what? Objects. These boxes are called what? Objects. Number, name, college name, like that. Process the data. Results shown on the monitor by using which function? Print function. This development is called what? Non-persistent. Such processed data want to store permanently. For that, I'll go for what? Store the data either in file, store the data in where? That is called what? Persistent. When you open first time your account in the bank, is it going to be stored permanently or not? When you go daily to the bank for depositing or withdrawing, are you going to retrieve the data back to the main memory and you are processing and again restoring into the file or database or not? Anything you want to process, it has to come to main memory. Anything you have to store permanently, it has to go to what? Secondary memory. That is called what? Files. Are you able to follow? Now, to store the data permanently, as I was already mentioned it in the day one of it, main memory. What is the significance of main memory? It is one of the temporary memory. By default, the data coming to the main memory. We process the data in the main memory. From the main memory only, we display the data on the monitor. This is about main memory story. Such a results, if we want to store permanently, I have to deal with the secondary memory. Secondary memory is going to contain the things called what? Files and then what? Database software. Secondary memory is something like what, students? Hard disk. Hard disk. There we are going to store our data either in the form of files or in the form of database. So files programming and database programming is a concept based, which makes us to write the data permanently, where it is going to come into the picture of which memory? Secondary memory. Are you able to follow me? So your notes is called secondary memory. Your brain is called what memory? Main memory. So let us move to the further. I hope it is clear. Now I am entering into the further. I am talking about what do you mean by file? What do you mean by file? What do you mean by stream? I am going to talk about it. What do you mean by file? What do you mean by stream? Very, very easy. Suppose all of you need to understand this entire data I typed correct here. This is I typed it in a notepad. I typed it or not. So what is then I want to see tomorrow, day after tomorrow, after 20 days also I want to see. What I used to do daily, see for example, this is the one, right? The moment I typed up my index, I saved now. I saved. Why I saved it? Saved means what? Permanently. In one folder I saved it. Why I saved permanently? As long as I am discussing these files, you must remember, you must know that it must be there. I want to see next day, any number of days after I want to see. That's why I saved this content permanently or not. Similarly, whatever I typed it, if I want to see tomorrow, day after tomorrow, something like that, I must go for definitely what? Save. Come on, fast file. And you are doing what? Save. The moment when I say save, what is happening? You observe it. It is going to be provided here. It is going to be provided here. Automatically, it is asking me save as. I'm going to give the file name here. I'm going to give the file name. C drive, D drive, E drive are the partitions in my hard disk or not? Are the partitions in where? Hard disk. Come on, are you practicing or not? After typing the Python program, are we saving the program or not? Something like that. I'm going to save it on some name. On some name, I'm going to give. That name is known as what here? Come on, file name. So file names, if I give that, it will be available in where? Hard disk. First of all, hard disk is nothing but which memory I said? Secondary memory. So first point you tell me, files resides in which memory? Files reside. First resides under Elsa. You are residing in Hyderabad. Residing and living in, placing in. English meaning తెలియాలి. Files resides in which memory? Secondary memory. Main memory. Data by default present in where? Main memory. First is difference in the day one only I said. Where I said? Data representation, I said. Because if you don't read and come, it is a difficult students. So data representation, you open it. Here you just go for it. Here you just go for it. Data can be stored in. Here you see in the beginning where data can be stored in it. In the day one beginning days in computing world, we can store the data in main memory of the computer and it is volatile temporary. We can process the data in main memory and whose results displayed on the monitor or what console. In computing, we can store result of the program permanently in secondary memory, that is called hard disk, by using programming features called what? Files and database programming. This I wrote it in the beginning only. So మనం చదువుకోకుండా వస్తే ఇంతే ఉంటుంది మీ దగ్గర. You need to read first. So we need to go for what? Two things. So if I want to save this data, if I want to save this data, on what name I have to save? File name. Where can I save that file name? In the hard disk, secondary memory. So first question I am asking, files resides in where? ఇక్కడ నేను కొన్ని పాయింట్స్ రాస్తున్నాయి ఇక్కడ. These are the solid points. You must have the basic knowledge about the files. Basic knowledge about the files. First thing is what? Second thing I am writing. Files resides in secondary memory. If you don't know, we can't do anything else. Because daily when I write a Python program, I am saving that program on some name or not. What is that name? File name. Where they are residing. That's all. Secondary memory is nothing but what here? Hard disk. So files resides in where? Secondary memory. Next step. After that, what is the use of files? Yes, the purpose of files. If anybody asks, what is the file? What is its purpose? Purpose of file is to store the data. To store the data permanently. 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 Right, done. And files resides in where? Secondary memory. Good. What is file name? I'm talking. What is file name? I am talking. File name is what? File name, suppose I am going to save, click on the save, file save. These are all basics of computer science. When I am going to enter into this place, now I am going to enter into this place, files folder. Inside of that, now I am giving what? Some name I am going to give. So what is a file name? In my hard disk, see the name is called what? Index. What is this index of file? It is a file name, which is residing in where? Hard disk. And I'm giving one more name here. One more name I am giving. Some XYZ I will give. What is this XYZ? It is one of file name. File name. Today I'm asking what is the file name. Technically, how can I feel it? This file name is residing in the hard disk. It will be considered as what? It is one of the named location. Named location in which memory? Secondary memory. Because it takes some space. It takes some space. The index of files took what? 3 KB of space. Like that. In the hard disk, it occupies some memory space. That's why it is named as what? It is a named location in which memory? Secondary memory. Suppose you are there. Your name is some name. So you are one of the named location in the earth or not? I am one of the named location in the earth. That person will have some spacing. Right or not? So every file name will have some space in the hard disk. That's why file name is considered as what? Named location. A file name is technically considered as considered as named location. Named location. What do you mean by named location? It has some spacing, it has some address, it has some type of memory space, everything. What is the file name? Somebody will ask, what is file? What is file name? What is file? What is the purpose of file? It is stores the data permanently. Files resides in where? Secondary memory. What is the file name? It is a technically considered as a named location. What is the use of file? Purpose of file Purpose of files is to store the data permanently. What is file? What is a file? I'm talking about. What is file? If anybody asks what is the file name, you have to say. What is the purpose of files? You have to say. Files resides in that. Now I'm talking about the definition of file. Definition of file. What is a file or what is the definition of file? I can go for giving it. And these 4 points are very, very important. Let us start understanding about the meaning of file here. Definition of file I am going to discuss. Carefully try to follow all the students in the online. Carefully follow students. Now I am going to take it. Main memory here. Main memory here. Now I am going to take it. And you have seen a lot of examples on that area. From the keyboard, we are reading the values for list. Do you know how to read the values for list? We written read values concept. In functions comprehension concept also I said. Enter list of values. We read the data in the list. I read what? A list values I read. LST values I read. And that LST values I put it into this LST, which contains a data called 10. The name is called RS, and the next is called what, something like, 4.5. 4.5, something is available. This is known as what? Object. Where is an object residing in? Main memory. Main memory is data is temporary or permanent. Such a type of data is present as long as my memory is active. Once my program is deactivated, the data will be lost. This is comes under up to here persistent, non-persistent. Non-persistent it is called. Today, my requirement is what? This object data to be stored permanently. This object data to be stored permanently. To store my object data permanently, we are using the concept of files. First concept I am going to take files. So here I am going to take the concept of files. What I should do to store my data? What should I require? Already said. To store my data permanently, what I require? Files or database. First, we started with which topic? Files. So, what I need to store my data? To save my object data or to save any data, I require file name or not? That file name I am taking stud.data. Stud.data. What is stud.data here? File name. File names are residing in where? Secondary memory. If you don't say, I will move to the further. Second, residing in the secondary memory. This is known as what? File name. What is the file name? It is a named location in which memory? Secondary memory. There I am going to keep the data. How the data is kept in? This data, 10 RS 4.5, 10 RS and 4.5, 4.5. This is my data kept here. This is considered as a record. Spell out record. So the moment when you go to the bank, when they accept your details, it is in the form of list, group of values. That group of values, I will save it into the bank depositors data. That your information is known as what? Record. One more person came to open an another account. What is the data again, right? Here 20. Next is called TR and next is called 6.5. This data also I will store it into where? File of secondary memory. What is this now? 20. 20. Next is called TR and 6.5. Like that 30, some XY and then 2.5. Next is called 40. Now YZ. Next is called 2.9. Like that we are going on storing the data. What is this is called? Record. These are all called records. All the records are present in where? File name. So what is the definition of file? A file is a collection of records. Spell out a collection of records. So there are 4 points are required. What is the purpose of files? To store the data permanently. Files are resides in secondary memory. File name is one of the named location in the secondary memory. Purpose of file is a collection of records. You have to remember this. So files resides in where? Secondary memory. Objects resides in where? Main memory. Object data is becoming as what here? Record. Every object of main memory is becoming a record in the file of which memory? Secondary memory. Object of main memory will become a record in the file of secondary memory. That is called in the forward process. Next day you are going for with depositing something or withdraw something. What that clerk will enter? Enter the account number. Based on the account number, is this data stored back in the main memory or not? Why need to store it in the back in the main memory? To process anything, you have to bring the data into where? Main memory. When you go to the examination, you cannot put the notes directly to the answer sheet, correct or not? Are you reading the notes data into your brain or not? And through brain, you are writing the examination, correct or not? Similarly, once you are going to newly placing, you will place the data in the file and you want to modify or do some process, read the data from the file and get it into main memory, again do the process, again keep the data into the file. Aadhaar card correction you enter. They will enter the Aadhaar card which is already existing or not. They will enter the new information, again they will restore it. So where they are doing the modification in the main memory only, where they are storing it permanently in secondary memory itself, in the form of what? File. So here, what is the definition of file? A file is a collection of records. So the total information here, object data becoming as what? Record. Object data becoming as a record. Record is becoming as what? Object. That is known as what? Stream. Spell out. What is the stream? Flow of data between object of main memory and file of secondary memory. Stream. Flow of data between object of main memory into file of secondary memory. Object is becoming a record. Record is becoming the object. Object to record is called what? Main memory to secondary memory. File. And file of secondary memory to the main memory is called what? Object. Record is becoming that. So here, object is becoming as a file and file is becoming as what? Object. This type of flow is known as what? Stream we can call. Are you able to follow? What is the stream? What is the definition of stream? Stand up. What is the definition of stream? Sleeping. Refresh same అవుతుంది. Sleeping, wake up. Sleeping, wake up. I am unable to see and sitting in front of me. Refresh and come. Directly taking book of keeping the bed sheet out and coming to the class. Sit up, sit. Now, next, no good line. What is the definition of file? Huh? Recorder. File and recorder. What is that? Secondary memory of records. చాలా పెద్ద ఇంగ్లీష్ అది. నెక్స్ట్, మీరు ముగ్గురు స్లీపింగ్ మూడ్ లోనే ఉన్నారు మీరు ముగ్గురు. ఇక్కడి నుంచి అక్కడికి వెళ్ళింది అది ఇన్హెరిటెన్స్. ఇక్కడి నుంచి నీకు వచ్చింది అది. ఇంకొక స్టూడెంట్ ఉన్నాడు, ఎప్పుడు యాక్టివ్గా ఉంటాడు ఆయన. నీకు వస్తుందని నాకు అందుకని ఆపిన ఇక్కడ క్లాస్. ఓకే, నో నో నో, గుడ్, యు ఆర్ గుడ్. వీళ్ళు ముగ్గురే కొద్దిగా ఇట్లా ఇట్లా అవుతున్నారు. ఈ త్రీ పీపుల్. వాట్ ఇస్ ద డెఫినేషన్ ఆఫ్ ఫైల్? ఫ్లో ఆఫ్ ద అర్థం కాలే, నాకైతే అర్థం కాలే. ఫ్లో ఆఫ్ ఫ్లో ఆఫ్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ సెకండరీ మెమరీ. అట్లా చెప్పకూడదు కదమ్మా. ద ఫ్లో ఆఫ్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ ఆఫ్ మెయిన్ మెమరీ. నాకు నాకు ఇంగ్లీష్ అయినా సరే నాకు డెఫినేషన్ వచ్చాను. నా మైండ్ బ్లాంక్ అయిపోయింది అనమాట. జస్ట్ నౌ బ్లాంక్. రియలీ ఐ ఫర్గెట్. సి, something wrong entered into the brain, existing thing becomes zero. None plus subject is equal to none. None data type. నువ్వు నన్ను డిస్టర్బ్ చేస్తావు. నన్ను ఎవరు డిస్టర్బ్ చేయలేదు ఇంతవరకు. కూర్చోండి. ద ఫ్లో ఆఫ్ డేటా between object of main memory into the file of secondary memory is called stream. చూసావా, నన్ను డిస్టర్బ్ చేసరికి ఒక్కసారి అంత డౌన్లోడ్ అయిపోయింది డేటా. Now to retrieve it again, it takes lot of time because both of you are in sleeping mood only. Correct? Correct? And you don't feel it because I'm the good well-wisher for you. For suppose if I don't touch you, you are in the same mood only. Okay? Are you following me? I will ask all of you after 15 minutes some more questions. Are you following all of you students? Online students? Is it clear? Is it clear all of you? Yogesh, good. The flow of objects of main memory into the file of what? Secondary memory is called what? Stream. So what is happening? Object will become record, record will become object. Objects exist in where? Main memory. Records exist in where? Records exist in file. File exists in where? Secondary memory. Your heart is existing in where? Body. Body existing in where? Class of, not only class. Body exists in where? Human. Human is existing in where? Earth. So you don't say heart is existing in earth. Not like that. So record is existing in where? File. Files exist in where? So every object of main memory becomes what? Record in the file of secondary memory. This word record of file of secondary memory. Record in secondary memory, wrong answer. Records are there in the file. File is there in the secondary memory. Don't tell data stored in secondary memory. Wrong answer. Data stored in where? File. Of which memory? That is the wording. That is the wording. Please improve your English. Where is your Naresh IT Institute located? Hyderabad, Amirpet, Satyam Theatre, Gully, left side. Not like that. You have to use English, proper English. Of course, it is my responsibility to suggest my students improve your connectivities, learn prepositions, improve. This is my advice for you. Okay, now, right. Don't feel when sir says that improve. When I comment on your English, you have to get a fire. Yes, definitely. When I was in my studies level into engineering first year, they asked directly one question. I did not understand. So there I directly said, only two people are there in Telugu medium that time. Directly they said, you cannot understand. But we did not leave that. We learned like anything. And first semester only top in the college. How? Why English will not come? English is bigger, nothing. So Telugu contains so many letters. So many letters are there. Telugu letters are so many. Hindi letters are so many. English letters are only 26. Telugu letters are bigger than English letters only. Correct or not? When we know Telugu very well, Hindi very well, why not English? Correct or not? That is the decision you need to make it. Understand? So that's why speak good English. Good English is not international English. Up to what we know, speak properly. When you respond in the class, you will get English. Are you following me? What is the file name? What is the file name? Named location in the secondary memory. Files resides in secondary memory. Purpose of files is to store the data permanently. Definition of file is collection of records. Every object resides in where? Main memory. To store the object data permanently, what we need? Files. So every object data stored in where? Files as record. Files resides in where? Can I show one information now? What is the definition of stream? Flow of data between the main object of main memory and files of secondary memory. Files of secondary memory. Let me go to that one small point I want to show you. So instead of typing again, I want to show you here. I'm going to enter into the data persistency by using files because I want to give you solid knowledge in the files. C language files, nobody knows. Even sir also will not explain this much. Why? Reasons you know. Come on, definition of what? File. Under that. A file is a collection of records. files resides in secondary memory. Technically, a file name is considered as a named location in secondary memory. The purpose of files is that to get a data persistency. Somebody ask about what is a file, you have to tell about everything here. What is the main memory? You have to tell about 4 points. It is a memory where we can store the data by default, which is coming from keyboard. It is a temporary memory. As long as power is there, it resets. Once the power is gone, it gone. Are you following me? To do any data processing, we need to take the help of what? Main memory only. That is the main important. Come on. All objects of data of main memory becomes records in the file of secondary memory, and records of file of secondary memory becomes the objects in main memory. This is the ultimate sentence you have to remember. Definition of stream. Next definition of stream. Come on, students. The flow of data between objects of main memory and files of secondary memory is called stream. Is called stream. Is it clear? Right. Now I want to show you a small diagrammatic format for you. What do you mean by file? What do you mean by record? See, students, this is called for your diagrammatic for purpose. What is this is called LST. What is LST called? Resides in where? That type of data stored in where? Secondary memory. In the secondary memory, what I'm choosing? File name. What the file name is? Named location. Residing in where? Secondary memory. That is taken as record 1, record 2, record 3. Like that, n number of records I can take or not. These many number of records. So what is the definition of file? Collection of records. And the files which are residing in the secondary memory with a collection of records generally called as what you know flat files. Spell out flat files. Flat files we can call. Our Python file name is also file name only, but it is not containing records. It is containing instructions. It is a program. Every program file is also called file name only, but that is called a normal file. But this is known as which file, ma? Flat files. Are you able to follow? Good. See the yellow box, one yellow box here. That is final sentence I am talking about what? Stream. Come on, read out. The data of object of main memory becomes as record in file of secondary memory, and records of secondary memory becomes as object in main memory. That is the definition of what? Stream. Clear up? Good. How many types of applications you can develop? Two types. Number one, non-persistent, persistent. Reading the data from keyboard and processing and displaying the data on the monitor is called which application? Non-persistent. That result processed want to store permanently. That is known as what? Persistent. By default, processed data present in where? Main memory. Is it temporary or permanent? Temporary. To store the data permanently, how many approaches are there? Two. What are the two approaches? Very good. So files are used for which purpose? To store the data permanently. Files resides in where? Secondary memory. File name is what? Named location. Files definition is what? Collection of records. Files resides in which memory? Good. Every object of main memory will become what? Record in the file of secondary memory. Don't tell just record. Record in the file of secondary memory. That clarity required. Record in the file of secondary memory. Record in the file of secondary memory. Understood? Every record of file of secondary memory want to process that record has to bring to where? Main memory. In the form of object. Concept differently with your imagination, and so that you can get this grip. Online students, is my concept is clear? Is my concept is clear? Data persistence by using files in Python. Quick, all the people should respond it. Is it clear? Up to here, everybody need to respond. So the response is going on. Yes, going on down. So here, so we understood. So more clear. Okay, Nagaraj is saying more clear. So students, let us move to the further. Now I am entering into the further. Students, I want to go for operations on the files. Operations on the files. So stream we understood. Now I am entering into the operations on files. Very, very easy, students. Operations on files. Come on, students. Don't take much time. It is very easy. The moment when you read the data from the keyboard, data will be coming and residing in where? Main memory. In the form of what? Objects, list, tuple, dictionary, whatever it might be the data. That data is residing in main memory. That data, I want to save it permanently in where? File. Of which memory? Secondary memory. So what should I do? I need to do an operation called what? Write operation. Spell out write operation. Simple. Let me give one basic knowledge for you. Basic what? Basic. So here the basic is, suppose you are the student. You are the student. What is this is called? Brain. It is called your RAM. Your RAM. The moment when Sar is explaining, this is entered into where? Your brain. And you are having adjacent your notes is also there with you, right? Everybody is having the notes who are sincere. Who don't have the notes, I don't know whether they are sincere or not. So this is our notes. Notes is called which memory? Secondary memory. You brought a notes. That is nothing but Python notes. This is nothing but a persistency. You brought it. The moment when data is explained by the faculty, data is entered into the brain, which is available in the RAM. After that, I said, write the notes. Write the notes. Generally, in before Corona pandemic situation, we used to say what? We used to explain 1 hour. Rest of the 30 minutes, we used to dictate the notes in the class in earlier style. Now we have both offline and online is there. We will completely explain and we will give the notes in the form of Google Classroom so that you will mention the notes. So here what is happening? I explained the data. It is entered into where? It is entered into where? Main memory. The data is a volatile. That is a temporary. I want to make the data to write into the file. Which operation? Write operation. So how you write the notes? What is the meaning of writing? Transferring the temporary data from from object of main memory into the file of secondary memory is the purpose of which operation? Write operation. So to write the operation, what we do? To write the operation, what we do? Come on, what is the use of write operation here? Saving which data? Temporary data or what data? Object data. Object data of which memory? Main memory. Into where? Into where? File of which memory? Secondary memory. For that purpose, we do which operation? Write operation. Understood? How many steps you need to do in write operation? That is the most important. How many steps you need to do? That is an important. What is the first step? To write the data, to write your notes. What is the first step you are doing? Are you writing notes? Then what is the first step you will do? Come on, open. Come on, open the. Okay, open the notes. In which mode you are opening? Write mode. That means taking the pen in the hand and opening. That is called which mode? Without opening the pen and you are just opening for what? Reading. So by seeing your style, I can understand is it write mode or read mode on it. Without pen, you are just seeing the note. That is called what I can understand reading. Now you are having pen and then doing something. That is called which mode? In files, we are having 7 modes are there. Seven, almost 8 modes are there. What is that? R, W, A, R plus, W plus, A plus, X and X plus. These are called file opening modes. Come on, tell me now what I'm doing. Open the nodes. In which mode? Yes. How to open the file in write mode? I will tell you the syntax. Understand? Mm. Open the notes. Before opening the notes, what you will do? Read. Choose the notes or not? Choose the notes. You have to take the notes or not? Choose the notes. That is nothing but file name. Choose the file name. Choose the file name. Open the file name in which mode? Open the file name in which mode? Right mode. Next, after that, after opening the file name in right mode, what are you doing? Write first word, second word, third word, like that you are writing or not? Perform, perform, cycle of, which operations? Right operations. Online students, are you following me? Perform cycle of right operations. Are you able to follow, students? Quickly, everybody need to answer it. Choose the file name, open the file name in write mode and perform cycle of write operations. Very good. While we are performing write operations, some exceptions will come. Do you know exceptions? Is your faculty explained exceptions? What is the definition of exception? What is the definition of exception? Runtime error is called exception. Shortcut, very sweet answers I said already. When you say my answers, people will say, yes, he's a perfect. No comma, full stop, directly dot, just like cutting like anything. What is exception? Every runtime error is called exception. What exceptions will come in the files? So that means I'm carrying the exceptions. I'm carrying the functions. I'm carrying all the topics. Number one exception will come. Number one exception will come. File exist error. File exist error. I will explain what is file exist error, because every exception will have a reason. Zero division error will come because of what? Denominator is zero. You will get what? Zero division error. When do you get key error? When the key does not exist, you will get like that. File exist error, OS error, OS error, and next is called IO error. If you ask any Python student, OS error, IO error. So IO error. So coming to the point of it, file exist error, OS error, IO error. These things I will explain in the class. These things I will explain in the class. Right now, don't worry about it. These are the three exceptions are coming in where? Write operation time. Are you following me? So first step, choose the file name, open the file name in write mode, perform cycle of write operations. Next, I'm going to take about these are the exceptions which are coming at what time? Write operation time. I'll show in the programming. Second one is called which operation? Read operation. Which operation? Read operation. I'm going to talk about it. What do you mean by read operation? Hmm, come on. Read operation means what? Reading the records from the file of secondary memory. From the file of secondary memory into where? చెప్పాను కదా ఆల్రెడీ మొదబబులు ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఆఫ్ మెయిన్ మెమరీ. Object of main memory. Reading means from where? Book to the brain. Brain to the book is called write. Book to the brain is called what? Reading. You just remember this example. Brain to the book is called write. Book to the brain is called. Just remember that you will get everything. So reading or transferring the records from file of secondary memory into where? Object of main memory is called which operation purpose? Read operation. So what are the steps in that? What are the steps? Come on, tell me. How do you read the book? Choose the file name. Choose the file name. Online students, choose the file name. Next second, open the file name. In which mode? Read mode. Read mode. Read mode. Next, perform. Perform. Cycle of read operations. Perform cycle of read operations. I'll go on reading the data from the file. Okay, here also we are going to get some exceptions here. Some exceptions we are going to get it. What is the first exception we are going to get it? I'm choosing the file name. Unfortunately, that file name is not there in the secondary memory. That is called file not found error. I'm telling the reason now itself. File not found error. I can say OS error, IO error, like other people, I don't want to say full forms for you. OS error, operating system error, IO error, input output error. I don't want to tell. If anybody says that, that is the worst knowledge that is. Nobody will give job for you. And by listening that sentences, people will find that you are out of order. When IO error will occur, reasons you need to tell. When OS error will occur, you need to tell reasons. When file not found error will be coming, when I am trying to choose the file name, if that file name does not existing in secondary memory, that time file not found error. File not found error. Next, I am going to take up B. One more thing. I am trying to read the data. I am going on reading the data. I have 10 records in the file. I read 10 records. I'm trying to read the 11th record, which is not there. You will get what error? EOF error. EOF error, your favorite answer. End of file error. Spell out. My notebook contains 50 pages. I read 49 pages. 50th page also read. After that, what pages are coming? Cover pages will come. Will you read cover pages also? No. So when I'm getting cover pages, that is nothing but what? End of the notes. So when I'm trying to read the cycle of read operations, when the cycle of read operations are reading completely records, if no more records are there, if I'm trying to read the records, you'll get which error? EOF error. EOF error will occur when I'm reading the records, which is exceeding the record boundary. 10 records is a record boundary. I'm trying to read 10 records. 11th record also I'm trying to read, which is not there. This time you'll get what error? EOF error stands for end of file error. Are you understanding the reason? Totally, how many exceptions are there in files? 3 in write operation, 2 in where? Right. So you need to remember these exception names. These are called operations on where? Files. Able to understand? Because these are all called concept coverage in the files. So here I'm going to talk about start understanding operations on files. Start. On files, we can perform two types of operations. They are write operation, read operation. Write operation. The purpose of files is that to transfer or save object data of main memory as record in the file of steps. Choose the file name, open the file name in mode, perform cycle of write operation. While we are performing write operation, we get the following exceptions. IO error, OS error, file exist error. This I will explain. I did not tell you critically. Read operation. The purpose of read operation is that to transfer or read the record from file of secondary memory into the object of main memory. Choose the file name, open the file name in main read mode, perform the cycle of read operation. These are called steps. While we are performing read operation, we get the following exceptions. File not found error, EOF error. This is called operations on file, most important topic. So I'm going to say how to open the file name in write mode, how to open the file name in read mode. I will give you. How many modes are there? No? How many file opening modes are there? Eight. Eight. Madhubavulu, eight. How many operations are there? Two. Write. Come on. Read. W. Next. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. I said 1 minute. What is R stands for? Read. What is W stands for? What is A stands for? Append. Access. Append. Spell out. Append. So R W A. Spell out. Next extra fun R plus. Next what? W plus. Next A plus. What is the plus symbol here? Importance? Nobody knows. I'll show you in class. Because if you see any person you take it, they will tell only these two. Append also they don't go. Append also they don't go. If they go to append, they will get error. What is the technique to be taken over there? I will tell in the class. Next after that, recently added modes are X, X plus that are called exclusive modes. I will explain the meaning of it. Totally how many modes? 8. Read out. R, W, A, R plus, W plus, A plus, X plus. How many file opening modes? 8. Number 1, R, W, A, R plus, W plus, A plus, X plus. Good. నువ్వు చెప్పట్లే. చెప్పట్లే. చెప్పు ఒకసారి. స్టాండ్ అప్. R, W, A, R plus, W plus, A plus, X plus. ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ కాదు, X plus. సిడమ్. నువ్వులే స్లీపింగ్ స్టూడెంట్. బిగినింగ్ ఇప్పుడు యాక్టివ్ అయిపోయినావు. దట్స్ నైస్. డోంట్ ఫోల్డ్ ద హ్యాండ్స్. నేను అడగాలి కదా, క్వశ్చన్ అడగద్దు నేను. ఐ షుడ్ ఆస్క్ ఏ క్వశ్చన్. హౌ మెనీ టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ అప్లికేషన్స్ ఇన్ ఫైల్స్? 8. హౌ మెనీ టైప్స్? 2. Number 1, non-persistent, persistent. ప్రతి ఒక్కదానికి 8. How many types of file? How many types of operations? How many? 2. Number 1, read. Read operation, write operation. How many file opening modes? 8. Tell me. R, W, A, R plus, W plus, A plus, X plus. What is X plus? You have to tell. Sir, you did not explain. You have to tell. I did not explain now. Sit down. No problem. Whatever I explain, if you say, more than enough. Whatever I said, you remember. That is more than enough. Right? Okay, students. Perfect. Are you perfect up to here? Actually, you don't know. But remember, I'll tell you everything crystal clear with the coding. Anything I say, I'll show coding for it. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about, okay, what is the time now? So, okay, 8:40. We'll stop my class. What is this now? Operations on file. Here up to here I said. Tomorrow when I come back, I'll talk about what? Types of files first 10 minutes. Then I'll go for what? File opening modes I will enter. Okay now? Don't miss tomorrow class. So girls, today you are interacting very well. Nice. Keep it up. All girls today more active. I don't know why. Maybe files is your favorite topic. I observed in all the days you interacted very well. Really nice. Beginning, some 2 to 3 girls are little sleepy. Then later they become activated. So nice. All who are those girls are in sleeping? They know they become activated. Nice. Keep it up. Daily you interact like that only. Boys, you also interacted well today and interacted daily like this. Okay, students, take care. All the best. Online students, you hold on if any doubts are there.